Hey, what's going on, guys? You're watching the Modding Corner, and today we're back with another Yapping Corner segment on the channel. That's right, I'm doing another commentary video because I need something to upload for the week, and things have kind of slowed down a bit on the channel because of things that I could have controlled, to be honest. One thing I couldn't control, but a couple things have. But I'm gonna keep this intro real brief. So, Dragon Ball the Breakers. Like, I know, like, with the current release of season 9, it's kind of been bittersweet because, you know, on the one hand, we're getting some like new raiders, and, you know, I played them on stream and whatnot if you want to go check out the VOD for that, and they're pretty fun for the most part. I didn't really get a chance to like play with Cell much, but I think Buhan and especially Broly are really fun additions to the game. But it's also like really bittersweet because we're starting to see that the game is kind of like slowly being phased out, and we've seen this through stuff like the Xenoverse 2 termination, where it's just like, oh well, Xenoverse and Breakers had like compatibility where like if you do these things in one game, you get rewards for the other, and vice versa. They're cutting that. The level cap for the Survivor being increased all the way up to 999, and for the Raider 120, which is like the max that both can handle. And the fact that the season pass has no end date in sight, so we have like no idea when we could get the next content update. As well as just, if you look at the Breakers roadmap for this year, you can very clearly see that after this update, we're getting no new raiders. We're just getting what they are calling balance adjustments for the rest of the year, and that's kind of just one way to show that, hey, we give up, you know. I mean, that's kind of how like the community has been taking it, and I mean, well, what other way could you really take that? It's fairly obvious at this point that this game is just not successful, unfortunately. And it's really sad too, because the thing is, I just want to say that I love Dragon Ball the Breakers. Honestly, like, I just like love the concept of it, because it's just like, hey, you're a civilian and you're gonna be hunted down by like all these big bads of the Dragon Ball universe, like Cell, Frieza, Boo, and your objective is to survive and, you know, try to like use like the Xenoverse, like, you know, timeline mechanics or whatever to just like save that timeline or escape in the time machine, or better yet, you can use like transfers to give yourselves an edge and then just fly up there and kick their ass as a team. You know, that's a lot of options. Like, you know, I'm gonna just say this so people can know where I'm coming from. I never played Dead by Daylight. I think I own the game, but I've only ever played it like maybe twice, and I didn't really get into it like that. But I really like Dragon Ball the Breakers like core gameplay loop. I thought it was like really fun, really fascinating. Like, you know, it was a fun grind, especially in those first seasons in the beta. I put like hours on hours into that game, just like, you know, just because I found like the core gameplay loop of like, you know, Survivor and Raider dynamics just to be like so much fun to run around with and whatnot. But, you know, as the game kept going, you know, I feel like it was kind of on like a bit of a downward momentum. Let's kind of break it down season by season. Now, I think beta through season 2, while it definitely wasn't perfect, you know, people were still like complaining, you know, about things like, oh, you know, friends being Raider and, you know, kind of boosting off each other, and like, you know, sometimes like, or like sometimes you'll get like the occasional match where you just get absolutely cooked by the Raider. You know, it was still fun if you enjoyed it. Again, it wasn't everybody's cup of tea. Like, there's a lot of people who just didn't play it that much just because they didn't like that gameplay loop, and I can respect that. But for like the people who liked it, like, it was a really fun experience, especially considering that, like, you know, nowadays, like, everybody is sick of the fact that the only anime games we seem to get is an arena fighter. So it's kind of unfortunate when we do get something like different, you know, people try it and just no one's really there to support it. And I'm not saying like, hey, you know, it's your fault that Breakers wasn't being supported because like you didn't play. No, if you don't like it, you don't like it, you know. Yeah, I can respect that, especially considering the fact that, you know, production wise, like, Breakers came out in like 2022 and it looks worse than Xenoverse 2. That shouldn't have happened, to be honest. That was already a mistake off the bat. But it had a fan base, is my point. At some point it had a fan base, but it started to lose momentum after season 2, in my opinion, Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think season 3 was a bad season. I just don't think the Ginyu Force was the best decision they could have made to add new raiders at the time, because like, I don't think the Ginyu Force is hype enough to carry a 3-month hype cycle. To be honest, like, I feel like that would have been a raider that they could have added like down the line when like the list started to get like a little full. Like, even still to this day, like I feel like we didn't even get characters like 17 and 18, or like, you know, just even some of the movie characters like Cooler, or like, you know, I would choose like them before the Ginyu Force. But go off. And then season 4 was the year 1 anniversary, right? We had Dragon Ball Super Broly, which definitely a hype inclusion that they added to the roster. But I think after season 1, that was like the last time I feel like the game fired on all cylinders when it came down to like the marketing, the hype, the leak from Dokkan. That was funny. But it was just the last time that the game like felt like it was up there on that level, like with a Xenoverse, with a Sparking, with a Fighter. Like they, like Bandai really wanted to try and, you know, get this game out and get as many eyes on it as possible. But after season 4, we started seeing a little shift, and season 5 was still a pretty good season, all things considered, you know, with Rose, Zamasu, and Goku Black, or like Rose, Goku Black, and Zamasu, a brand new map, the continuing on from like the Super Transfer feature from the Broly DLC. Like, overall it was like a solid pack. But I believe it was either season 4 or 5, feel free to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, that they added region lock to the game, and I feel like that was the first big blow that really killed this game's momentum in my eyes. Besides like the people saying like, oh, like, you know, we can't guarantee a Raider Q. Look, I'm gonna just get this out the way. Raider Q was a terrible idea in the first place. I'm glad they gave up on adding that shit, because again, the servers were just gonna get worse if you were able to guarantee a Raider match. Because if you could be Raider, no one's gonna pick Survivor. You need 7 people to be Survivor. Yeah, you gotta force people to play Survivor on the occasion. Like, I feel like Flex was the only option at that point. I don't even know why they tried to advertise that, because they tried to do it twice and it didn't work twice, which is crazy. But I digress. So basically, region lock was one of the big things that killed the game for a lot of people, because a lot of people have friends who are like across the country or overseas, or like, you know, in like different areas of the world that they want to play with. Because again, it's the internet, you know, people know, you know, people all across the world. So it's like, now that you took that option away, you can't play with like those friends. It's like, okay, well, you know, that's done, assuming you even still had friends who played Breakers at that point. But that was like the first big blow to the game. The second big blow to the game, I feel like, was definitely like how they should have never added ranked in my opinion. Like, Dragon Ball The Breakers should not be a game that you take like too seriously. Like, you know, I understand like adding ranked in like arena fighters, because like that makes like things just like a little more spicy, to say the least. Like, even like, you know, if it's not good, like, you know, I get why, like, you know, Sparking, Xenoverse, why they have like a ranked system, even though like, you know, those games aren't built for like competitive play like something like a Fighters or any other like, you know, traditional fighting game. But I get why they have that. Why they added Rank the Breakers and not just, you know, just have like the season pass and team like awards, I don't know. I don't know, dog. I feel like that just made like the people who really sweat at the game, it just gave them an excuse to just go harder. And again, I feel like by like season 4, season 5, a lot of people had like, you know, people who like played Breakers like that had a really good idea of like the maps and like, you know, what exactly they were doing. So what that did was it gate kept a lot of new players from getting into the game. And you can kind of see this, there's like, I think it was like around like season 6, season 7, the game was free for a while on PSN for a while, and you know, the player base shot up around that time because you got a lot of new PlayStation players because they got the game for free. But then, you know, it quickly went back down just because of the fact that like the you know, like you're going into lobbies with like level 300s and like level 99 raiders, and they're just gonna see you as free eats. Like, you know, they're just gonna see you as like free eats, and you're just gonna like get cooked immediately. So you have no time to learn the controls, you have like no time to learn what you're working with. And then, oh god, this is a whole other issue, the gacha system, which, okay, I get why they did this. They kind of wanted to make Breakers like a live service, like, hey, we'll get seasonal updates, you'll get new transfers every couple of weeks. But here's the big problem in my eyes by like adding like a gacha system and stuff to a game like this. So most gacha systems are in games that are free to play. Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, free to play. You don't have to spend money on that game if you don't want to. Will you have to spend money if you want to do like, you know, the strongest events and like beat the strongest events and all that? Probably, but never a necessity. Legends, same deal. You know, if you want to catch up in PvP online, you're probably going to need to spend money to get the newest and shiniest units. But again, you can play that game on a very casual like perspective and not spend any money if you don't want to. Breakers though, why I have a problem with it in Breakers, you have to spend $20 to get the base game. And you're probably thinking, oh yeah, $20 isn't that bad in this economy. Cause like, you know, like most games are like 60, 70, hell, if you're Nintendo, it's 80. For some games, which is, I have a Switch too. Mario Kart World is not worth $80. If you're not getting the bundle, then don't even bother. That's just my quick review. But like, you have like games go up that much, so it's like 20, that's nothing, right? But then you realize, oh wait, I have to pay for this gacha system. Oh wait, I have to pay for all the raiders outside of the base 3 raiders in the game, which is like Frieza, Cell, and Boo. And it's just like, you know, if you don't get those like best skills, you're gonna get cooked. Because it's like, even like me, for example, I played the Breakers a ton at its prime. I never had skills like instant transmission and energy field until way after they were meta. Like, so I was basically playing that game on like extreme difficulty for the longest, because like I just did not have the skills to keep up with the meta, because the gacha system f***ed me. Like, because I don't spend money on Breakers outside of just getting new raiders, because it's just like, I don't want to spend money on a gacha system with the rates like being this bad, like being as bad as something like a Dokkan or a Legends, when they really have like no need to be. Like, if you're gonna milk this game, you know, monetarily, then don't charge people a barrier for entry. That's just a surefire way of just killing your game off the jump. Like, again, them making the beta free, that's why we had a lot of players from the start, because, you know, the people who found out they liked it, they obviously bought the game. But then you throw on the fact that, oh, you can't just unlock raiders, which that's a whole other thing. You can't even just unlock raiders. You have to like grind for TP medals to buy them, and grinding for TP medals in this game is literally hell. Like, you have to play so many matches just to fill out the season pass. And even then, the season pass doesn't like guarantee you a raider at the end. It'd be one thing if like, hey, you can either buy the raider now, or you could fill out the season pass and get them by the end of the season pass. No, it's not like that at all. You get like little quotes for them, and you get like little exclusive season pass outfits. That's neat, but no real raider rewards, or like if you don't have that raider, it's not even gonna matter like that. But like the way that they tried to monetize this game effectively shot it in the foot for a lot of people. Like, if you like enjoyed that gameplay loop but like didn't get lucky in the gacha system, or just aren't willing to spend the money you need for like the raider and survivor skills, there was just no point in playing the game. Like, there was just no point in playing the game. And then it was around like season 6, season 7, right, that this game really started to nosedive in quality. And again, I feel like you can really start to see this shift after season 4 and 5, that, hey, you know, those seasons had back-to-back hitters. Broly, hitter. Goku Black and Zamasu, hitter. But because of what I said earlier, they probably did not perform as well as Bandai Namco would have liked. So pretty obviously and blatantly, they must have cut the funding on this game, because I think around that time they had to swap producers as well, if I'm not mistaken. But like, once that happened, you can really tell that they just stopped prioritizing the game in a way where it's just like, hey, we're gonna get like an equal amount of content for each update, or oh, you know, each update is just gonna continue to be on the up and up, like, you know, we're gonna try to outdo ourselves with each and every update. No, we stopped doing that, like, to the point where now in season like 6, you're just getting Broly and 2 transfers. Oh, that's lame. I even made a short about it at the time, like, oh, okay, this is kind of the worst update ever. Like, yeah, baby's cool, but it's like, oh, we only get 2 transfers, no new maps, none of that. Season 7, you get, oh, you like, because I think we already have Beast and Orange Piccolo. Either way, like, we got like 2 new skills for them, characters that were already in the game. Gamma 1 and 2, again, no new maps, no new skins either. No new skins for your survivor. So they just completely stopped that, and then they completely stopped doing story mode. Remember when Breakers had a story mode? They just stopped doing that shit at some point. I don't know why. Like it's also funny because like Trunks got body swapped by Ginyu again in that story mode, which is really set, like, you know, because considering it's like canon Xenoverse, like you know, the whole like nickel meme, like, you know, it's strange that it happened twice. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, you can really see where they just completely cut off the funding for this game, and it happened around like season 6, season 7, and then season 8 came out, and holy shit, I didn't even bother with season 8. I really couldn't even bother with season 8 because they did absolutely nothing to address how lame season 7 was, and they just made it worse. They literally charged people $10, and I bought the skin too, so I'm definitely part of the problem. They charged people $10 for one new skill in Golden Frieza, and Golden Frieza sucks. I probably only played as Golden Frieza one time. That transformation doesn't last for shit, and the worst part is, if you've already grinded up your base game Frieza to like level 99 and unlocked all his skills, that shit does not continue over into the new Golden Frieza, which is like, okay, why? All y'all did was swap one skill. All you had to do was just, hey, do you want to reset your attribute points? And just make it the same reworked Raider. Like, I don't understand why they gave the reworked like Raiders, that's hard to say that time 5 times fast. Like, I don't know why they gave the reworked Raiders completely different slots. It's asinine. It makes, you know, people who are experienced with that original version of the character not even want to do that whole grind back to level 99. It just doesn't make sense, gang. It really just doesn't make sense. But yeah, season 8, like season 6, 7, and 8, in my opinion, were just absolute failures for the game. And then again, earlier this year, we got the roadmap announced, and we looked at the roadmap, and like, you know, now we're here in season 9. This is the last content update we are getting for the rest of the year. It is September 1st. It is, or not even September, I'm stupid. It is August 1st at the time I'm recording this video. It is August 1st. We do not know what the next content for this game is going to be. We don't even think we're getting content at this point, because like I said at the beginning of the video, they're starting to pull the plug on a lot of the features of Dragon Ball, the Breakers, and like other things and whatnot. So it's like, you know, now we're kind of at this point where it's just like, you know what, yeah, the writing is on the wall, the game is dead, like, you know. And it may not be like official, they may be keeping the servers up for another year or so, but you know, I feel like once them numbers start to like dip below like triple digits, like, you know, it's gonna be like any day, especially after Project Multi comes out, because they're definitely gonna need to relocate assets to that game. Like, I feel like it's any day after that game comes out, they're gonna start pulling the plug on Breakers. It's just over. And as someone who really enjoyed the game at a point, despite all of the flaws it had, it just makes me sad that they fumbled this concept, and hopefully they don't take the wrong lessons from this, like, you know, in terms of just like making experimental Dragon Ball games, you know, things that aren't always going to be like, you know, 3D or 2D fighters, but just like, you know, games in other genres. Because I feel like Dragon Ball as a franchise, especially as a gaming franchise, like, you know, just has a lot of potential with its world to just be like in so many different avenues. I don't know if you all seen, you know, the Dragon Ball racing video I did a couple months back, but I feel like Dragon Ball has like hella like stuff they can use for a traditional kart racer, or even like a party game or something like how Demon Slayer got. But I just hope that, you know, Bandai Namco doesn't take the wrong lessons from Breakers. Like, I feel like, to me, like, they're kind of already learning their lesson with Project Multi, because again, Project Multi, free to play game, you can continue to play the game to unlock all the new characters, and it doesn't take that long, and the only gacha elements are for skins, MVPs, and just cosmetics, and that's exactly how it should be. You know, they shouldn't charge you for anything that will be an essential loss to your gameplay. Like, just because like my Goku has the cool MVP, you know, that Hawaiian Roshi shirt drip on him, and yours doesn't, doesn't mean that you're any less competent of a Goku than me. It just means my pockets are fatter than yours. Like, you know, and that's how it should be, you know. And I hope that they continue to make these more experimental anime games in the future, because again, a lot of people are getting sick of traditional, you know, and this is a conversation for another day. People are getting sick of like arena fighters, 2D fighters, you know, especially if like they're not made at the highest of quality. I mean, look at that new Hunter x Hunter game. Again, like, you know, no shade, you know, to the people who made that, but that looks like a late like PS3 game. I'm not gonna lie, and they charge $70 for that game, which is egregious. Absolutely egregious. Y'all are not even on fighters like level of quality. I'm sorry. But, or even like that new Bleach game, like, you know, you hear cool things about it for a week or two, but then it falls off. You know, every anime game is destined to fall off, even Sparking Zero to an extent. And, you know, we've had this conversation already. Again, I enjoy the game, but like even Sparking Zero has kind of fallen off in some ways, but I digress. So again, I hope Bandai doesn't take the wrong lesson from this game being a failure. Keep making experimental games, because you never know, you know, what's just gonna end up sticking one day, and it could be like something revolutionary in the genre. Because again, I feel like, you know, there's just a lot of potential for like, you know, different anime games outside of like, you know, just basic fighting games. Because like, you know, you got like these high concept characters, like these fascinating worlds and locations and whatnot, and I feel like it's really cool when they do stuff like Dragon Ball The Breakers to take advantage of that. It just sucks that unfortunately Breakers was just kind of destined to fail, you know, just from the presentation, the like kind of like price gatekeeping the game implemented from the start, the like fact that it killed its core player base, the fact that it even gained the player base, you know, just off the Dragon Ball like name alone is crazy. But then it effectively gave all those players little to no reason to keep pursuing the game, and it gatekeeped all the people who wanted to try it. It just shows that this game was an absolute failure. And again, I hope they learned their lesson and, you know, implement what they learned in the future, you know, projects. And again, it looks like they're kind of learning their lesson with multi, but it's just really sad to see this game go out the way it did. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say. If you enjoy like, you know, these like kind of yapping corner segments, I plan to do at least like maybe 2 of these a month, because at least I can like kind of like make these a little quicker than my main like content. And don't worry, I'm working on Xenoverse videos. Okay, I got like 2 videos scripts I'm trying to get done already, but yeah, I'll give you guys like the update in those videos. If you enjoyed the video, you know, feel free to like and subscribe. You know, the next goal, 20K, that's in reach. You know, I'm so proud of the channel growth, even like though I feel like I've kind of been absent across July. I'm just so grateful that the channel is, you know, still at a place where it's still growing, and I just love making videos and stuff, you know, for everyone to enjoy. And again, massive shout out to my channel members from July, and, you know, going into August, I'm just gonna clump them both together since I didn't really make much content last month. But if you want to become a channel member, it's only $1 a month, and you get to see all my videos and shorts whenever they are ready, even though sometimes they're only ready 2 hours before they go live, because I just be stressing myself out like that. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed today's video, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.
We made it. Come, Dende, you're up.
That's gotta be racist.
Right.
He looks nothing like Kami. What?